So we're back with part 3 on translating the text at the Bosnian pyramid site, the K1. And we left off looking at some of the facts around megaliths around the globe in general. And so, like I said, looking at those data sets that I produced on all the megaliths that I could find. Like I said, there were thousands that I reviewed, and they list in these documents what they were made of and what era they think they came from. The other interesting thing is that when we utilize the data on the megaliths, I noticed that many of the existing megaliths out there have been relocated. And they would usually be moved within 100 to 150 kilometers maximum from the original location. So is that something that we need to look at here? I mean, were they moved? Were they inside the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and moved into the tunnels? We don't know that yet. But that is an interesting piece of information. So we've also seen megaliths that were utilized as cultural markers to express a message or mark a location with the symbols on the large stones. So I find this pretty fascinating when we look at all the megaliths on the planet and how many of them were actually moved from their original location. What was the purpose behind that? You know, was it the Ice Age or some type of weather, event that moved them, or were they moved by people? I'm sure it's all the above. So it's kind of interesting when we look at this. It's like I get all excited because there's so much information that we can gather in producing the end result here of translating this text. So, as I said before in the other video, we did not find any megaliths that were made of this ceramic material. And it would take a high temperature usually to make this type of a stone. So was it actually made that way? Did it actually get heated, or was there some other type of technology or method that they used back then to actually harden this clay into the ceramic type coating? Because it's literally shiny. I mean, it looks just like any ceramic coating out there that you would see. But we have to remember what the hardness was of that at the 100 MPs. So, could a volcano actually naturally cause these stones? Maybe. I mean, that's an option, but we have to look at the carvings on it. It's like, if that stone is 100 MPs, it's obvious that those symbols on there were probably put on there when they made that particular stone. We could say it was natural, right? But not really, because, where would the carvings come from? And they're smooth too. When you go and touch the actual K1 and look at how that's carved in there, and if you look at the pictures and we kind of zoom in on some of those, they're like, if you were to do that with a stick or something, and made those symbols, there would be like a raised area around it, if it was done a certain way. So we have to look at, how things are done and the possibilities. It could have been a volcano. I thought about looking at volcanoes. Yes, there's volcanoes in the area, but to have as many pieces now that have shown up and the shapes of those, like one showed up that's a brain, one looks like an eye. There's some other, large megaliths that keep appearing as more research is done. So I really do not suspect that a volcano came in and heated that up and made it natural. So we're going to take that and scratch that off our list. So anyways, that was a lot of work, getting the data sets for the megaliths on the planet, looking at all that data to see the types of materials that the megaliths were made out of across the globe, and then also mapping out these volcanoes and looking at those and seeing, if that was related. It does eliminate my theory on that level that these were somehow naturally made. Of course, the symbols wouldn't be, but I wanted to know more about the megalith itself because, this ceramic material is kind of in a mystery. So we are going to, kind of go in another direction here. The the next thing I want to talk about is the ceramic material, because I had seen something somewhere. I travel all over and gone to museums everywhere, and I knew that I saw another artifact that resembled this ceramic material. And this was looking through thousands and thousands of pictures. I had to see, like, where did I see that before? Was it in my records? Did I see it on a television show? Did I see it going into one of the museums or sites, historical sites? And I was sitting there, for a long time trying to figure out, where did I see this material before? And that's what I'm going to go into next, because it got really exciting for me because I realized where I saw this. This opened many, many doors for us moving forward. Again, what I want you to remember is that when we do research at this level, and we don't have a lot of information to go off of, it's always going back to those questions of, we have to take one column of things that, yes, these are facts. This is what we found to be true. And then we have the other items that we put on the side in another column that we say, we can't use this. It's not true. And so we put those items aside, those ideas, those, hypotheses that could it possibly be this? And we run through these series of questions in science. I have studied on a scientific level my whole career, my whole life. I was that way, even at a very young age, looking at things from a scientific level. And it was really important for me to prove or disprove certain ideas, facts that are out there in order to actually find what I feel is the translation of the text on this megalith. So we're going to go forward now and look at this deeper. But we realize that, obviously these were not naturally formed megaliths or stones by volcanoes heating up clay or some other type of substance, because if that was true, if we went to other volcanic sites, we would have people finding these all over the planet. And the thing that we can't find are any other megaliths that look like this. But I have seen this ceramic in another location, which I'll share with you. It took me a long time to actually figure out where that was, and going through all of my photos and my previous research, in addition to really doing a deep dive on the data side, utilizing the internet to find anything that was resembling this that was found at another ancient site. As far as the ceramic material, there are certain things that we know. We've already looked at how hard that material is. There's nothing on the planet today that's made that is this hard with the 100 MPs. Remember, most of our cement materials that are made today, and I know this from the construction and engineering industry, it's like if we have cement that's over 40 MPs, it's a special mixture. But the average cement out there that you see that's used for houses or roads or sidewalks is actually right around 40 MPs. Okay, it can be 30, 40, somewhere around there. But I do know that there's some people out there that have mixtures that'll go up into the 50s in working in construction. When you build larger facilities, we want to use a stronger material. But that's pretty much the max. Okay. No one really has a formula for the 100 MPs. And the other thing is that this looks like ceramic. It's shiny. It gives off an energy. So the other thing that was found back in 2017, Dr. Sam released another paper off of the research they did because there's energy that is actually being emitted from the pyramid structure, from the pyramid of the sun. And it goes directly straight up into the sky. There's waves going upwards, and then there's also waves coming down from the universe down into the pyramid. So you've got a flow of energy going up and down within that pyramid. That energy flows into the tunnels that you find around the pyramid. And so, could those ceramic stones have been like charged from this energy, or do they actually play a role in that energy flowing? This is something we're going to try and figure out. I don't know if we can figure all of it out this time around, but it's something that we need to look at further, like, the purpose of those. Now, back in January of 2017, Dr. Sam released a paper and the research on the Tesla torsion fields, the energy coming out of the pyramid of the sun. Those were measured, and they continue to be measured all the time to see what those flows are going out of the pyramid, and then there's energy coming back down through the pyramid. So there's energy flows going outward and inward into that pyramid structure, and that energy flows into the tunnels underneath the pyramid and extending outside of that pyramid. The energy is actually moving at the speed of light, which is the fastest speed in the universe according to Einstein's physics. Okay, so it's moving at 300,000 kilometers per second. As far as the energy moving in and out of this pyramid, those are Tesla scalar waves. And so many other researchers, and of course Tesla, said that these scalar waves, or standing waves, created in torsion field interaction, are traveling at faster speeds than light usually. It's estimated to be 10 billion times faster than the speed of light. Thereby, the torsion fields can move through any other cosmic body, planets, suns, without wasting any energy. This means they're able to travel at a great velocity, transfer information, energy, and that there is no loss of quality or the quantity of the information that's traveling with this energy. Okay, so in my paper, I go into the details of these Tesla waves on the pyramid of the sun. I'm not going to go into all those details here as far as the energy coming in, but that energy flow is constant there at the pyramid of the sun. That I do want to mention. The other thing is that we need to look at that because there's this electrical field there all the time, going inward and outward of that pyramid and the tunnels. It keeps the frequency level within the pyramid of the sun in that area at 28 kilohertz. And so I'm going to do some other research as far as the energy in that pyramid later in another series of videos. But that energy can do a lot of good things for the body. And it's known that, those frequencies that are higher like that can actually heal the body, which I want to get into on a later paper. But we're looking at the translation of the text here, and this part's important because there's this energy, and then the megalith is actually emitting energy. All of them are there, but we want to kind of keep this in the back of our mind because it's like, okay, why are those things producing energy? Are they being charged by the energy flow coming in and out, or were they built to balance that energy out a certain way with the energy that they're emitting individually? So I'm like I said, I'm not going to go into this too deep, but it is important for us to recognize this because not all megaliths have energy coming off of them. It depends on what they're made of, the materials and everything. And of course, certain materials, the different types of stones that there are for megaliths will put off a certain amount of energy, but not at these frequencies. So I wanted to make mention of this because I feel that it can be important in our research. And we'll kind of continue from here, but it's really an interesting site, the Bosnian pyramid site. This stuff cannot be made through like natural formings of rock or whatever. And that is why I'm bringing all this up, all these different facts, because they're all important when we look at the end result, right? And the other thing is that when I first looked at the symbols on the K1, the thing that I noticed was the image of the E symbol. And that, to me, from a physics point of view, I see that as something dealing with energy. So this is the direction I'm going in next as far as our translation. Does it have something to do with energy? And it's not about, being a map. And this was one of my first clues. And looking at the megalith the first time was, as soon as I saw that symbol E, with me studying physics for years, that whenever I see that symbol, it makes me think of physics. So this is the direction we're going in as far as the translation. But I want to talk about, again, the ceramic material that this is made out of, because the next things I'm going to bring up about this ceramic material is kind of mind-blowing. And it has to do with the consistency, how it was made, how it was formed, and I had to go in and research that, and I ended up finding my answers as to when this was made, how it was made, what it was made out of, and we'll go into that here in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to stop part 3 here because we're at 20 minutes and this is a lot of information to take in, and we're going to go into the details in part 4 of this ceramic material, how it's connected to the mound builders in the United States, and the story of how I had to figure that out and how I went to some experts in geology in order to figure out what this material was and how it was made. And we'll go back to the hardness of the material and the fact that it's ceramic. And this next part is probably, I think, one of the best parts of the story of this megalith. Even though we're translating ancient texts, it has taken us in so many other directions as I've dug into this. So stay tuned for part 4. And thank you again for watching. If you would like a copy of my research paper, just email me at drdianamacys-staley@gmail.com. I will include that down below the video here for you to email me if you would like to read the paper. It has a lot more details in it than what I'm giving you here. I'm just trying to summarize as much as I can, but give you the valuable information on the translation of this text and everywhere else that we've gone in different directions. So stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon.